Good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, July 10th, and it is 6 p.m. I am Kathy Sizemore. I am chairperson for the Community Services Commission, and I'm calling this meeting to order. To begin our meeting, we will all rise, and would you please join me in the flag salute? Please prepare yourself in the manner of your custom. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. And I will go ahead and ask our commission secretary, Tracy Tomenes, to please do our roll call.
Commissioner Castro?
Here.
Commissioner Hawks?
Here.
Commissioner Kingsburg?
Here.
Vice Chair Audi?
Here.
Chairperson Sizemore?
Here?
All present, thank you.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Do we have any public comments this evening?
No, we do not.
All right, great. Then we will go ahead and dispense with the reading of the rules, and we will move right along into our division reports. It is our pleasure this evening to have Patrice Brown here with us tonight to deliver our recreation report. Welcome, Patrice. We're happy to have you here with us tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Patrice Brown, and I am with the Homeless Outreach Division. I'm happy to be providing the Community Services report tonight. Next slide. In our Aquatics Division, after major renovations to the Chaparral Pool last year, we are pleased to be back with the City Aquatics program this summer. Summer swim lessons began on June 19th at all three pools with over 900 participants ranging from age 6 months to adults. Adapted swim lessons began June 19th for swimmers with special needs, and the first special needs family night was held on June 21st with over 50 participants. Next slide. Our 8-week water polo class began June 17th at Chaparral. 47 participants started with treading water, ball handling, and passing. During the summer season, aquatic staff will train for 90 minutes every Friday morning. Next slide. Contract Classes Division had 276 classes offered in June with more than 5,200 participants. Class categories included preschool enrichment, youth and teen enrichment, visual arts, performing arts, sports and fitness, seniors, and special interest classes. Contract Classes offered 27 summer camps in June with more than 2,100 participants. Sports camps, visual art camps, cooking and baking camps were offered in June. City of Temecula's Youth Musical Theater Program performed 2 shows, Descendants the Musical and Grease. Our 2 80-member cast performed 4 sold-out shows at the Temecula Old Town Community Theater. Next slide. Summer Day Camp began on June 19th at the CRC. Our team is scheduling games, crafts, music, field trips, and swimming for the participants. Temecula Skate Park hosted our BMX Jam event from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. The event was filled with music, light refreshments, and Jeff Waddleton emceed the event. 15 participants and their families were in attendance. The Teen Zone has officially returned to the CRC as of July 5th, and the Teen Zone had over 135 participants for June. The next event for Wacky Wednesday, its summer scavenger hunt, will be on July 12th. Next slide. Homeless Outreach exited 40 individuals this year, and 8 were in the month of June. Homeless Outreach team, which includes city staff, core team, and swag, conducted a 2-day homeless census on June 21st and 22nd. The purpose of this census is to obtain a more accurate count of the Temecula's homeless population compared to the annual PIT count. Population numbers are currently being reconciled and will be provided once finalized. Over at the library, there were more than 19,000 visitors. In June, displays included performing arts, mindfulness, My Roots, My Story, Young Activists, Choose Kindness, Rainbow Month. Upcoming event, Boards Game Social, will be on Thursday, July 20th at 6 p.m. Parks Division prepped the Ronald Reagan Sports Park for the annual 4th of July extravaganza. In the Sports Division, local recognized youth baseball and softball leagues are currently playing all-stars, and a few teams have advanced to state. City adult sports leagues will begin later this month, along with youth baseball and senior softball tournaments. I'm running out of breath. Special events hosted the summer concert series and movie in the park in June. 31 rentals for the TCC and picnic shelters, and the Welcome Center had close to 500 walk-ins. We had our two big events for the 4th of July parade that had around 4,000 spectators, and our 4th of July extravaganza and fireworks at the Ronald Reagan Sports Park had over 28,000 spectators. The special events team has more fun events planned for July, such as summer concerts, family baseball night on July 18th, and another movie in the park on July 21st. Next slide. The theater had 3 great performances with a total attendance over 4,400 and the total outreach close to 15,700 in June. Next slide. The Merc had 14 performances with a total attendance of 4,400 and the total outreach at 15,680. Speak Easy and Brazilian Latin Jazz had sold out performances. This concludes the first section of our report, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Patrice. It's wonderful to have you here with us tonight, and you did a great job.
Thank
And I'm
you.
glad you took a moment to breathe. Breathing's good.
Before we jump in with questions, if I could just have Patrice, I think, is this your first time?
Yes,
That's
this
what I
is my
thought.
first
Would
time.
you mind taking a minute and just introducing yourself? Because your background in TCSD goes way back. So if you'd like to share that, and then also, I understand you had a personal connection to the Descendants musical.
Yes, so I believe I've been working with the city of Temecula for 10 years. So I started at the CRC for 6 years, started with classes for about 3, and then COVID hit, and then I was brought back to work with homeless outreach. So I've worked with the hospitals locally, so it's really great that my hospital experience and my city experience came to be homeless outreach. And then my daughter also did the musical, Descendants, and she was the main lead, and it was amazing. We didn't realize she could sing, so now we're going down that route. But yeah, fantastic show. A lot of my family came into town, and they were blown away. So
Wow.
a lot of the kids were lining up for autographs and photos with her, so it was really a great experience for her and us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for all you've done for our community for the past decade.
thank you.
We appreciate that. And how awesome for your daughter.
Oh, yes.
You are in the right community. We have a very just thriving arts community, theater community here in Temecula. So a lot of resources and a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, we've lived here for 25 years, so, I grew up in the Parks and Recs, going to the teen zone, going to teen ball, so, yeah, it's
Yeah.
great to give back to the community.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you for being here
Thank you.
tonight. Well, we'll go ahead and take any questions and comments we have from our commissioners, and we will go ahead and start with Commissioner Hawks.
Thank you, Patrice, for the report. So many activities. I wish I can attend all of them. And I have a quick question about the Wacky Wednesday. Can you elaborate a little bit about from the teen zone?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. So Wacky Wednesday is just a day of specific activities they do at the Teen Zone. So they might do like a lot of times they do a fun food, not elaborate cooking, but like making a snack and then doing an art or craft type project, but it's more geared towards teens. So it's just something we do to make the Teen Zone a little more fun.
Okay, thank you. I might be able to convince my son or his friend to go there.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hawks. Commissioner Kingsburg?
Thank you, Chair Sizemore. Thank you so much, Patrice. I appreciate the information. And thank you for the important work that you do with the city and the homeless outreach. Just sort of a reflection comment and then a couple of little questions. I'm just impressed to see the various opportunities for youth, obviously, ongoing, but especially at this time of year. More than 2,000 participants in the summer camps, the 2 big theater productions, the Teen Zone back up and running, that's great. Interestingly, the water polo class caught my attention. I've never played water polo per se, but I think being in the water right now is probably a good time here to be in. I'm just curious, is that a newer class or has that been an ongoing offering?
We've offered water polo for a number of years. It's pretty popular around here, and as you probably know, a lot of the local high schools have water polo teams.
Oh, yes.
And, yeah, so we wanted to offer it as a way for kids to have a recreational entry into the sport. So kids who might not have, grown up with a pool in their backyard or had an older brother or sister who played still have a way to learn the fundamentals. So when they get to high school and they want to try out, they kind of know the basics.
Great. And I personally wasn't able to make the afternoon, evening extravaganza, but when I saw those numbers, 28,000 spectators, where do we put all those people? I mean, we need a stadium for that. I'm sure a lot of people came and went, and some stayed, but that's just amazing that many people were involved or got over to that. So great job.
Hey, thank you. Commissioner Kingsford, I'm going to echo your comment on the water polo. I don't recall that I remember seeing this in years past. So it caught my attention. I was a former water polo player, so I was like, wow, that's really neat. So I didn't know if that was something new, and that's awesome that you guys could provide that, because the first time I learned how to do or heard about doing egg beaters was in high school when I was trying to catch up, and you got a game on Friday and you got to learn how to do this now. So that's really great that you guys offer that so our youth can have an experience, before they even get to high school. That way you're not figuring out what water polo is and maybe you don't want to do it after you've already signed up for it and your parents have paid for it and you have no choice.
Yeah, it's a very intense sport, so it helps a lot of kids can have a taste of it beforehand and sort of know what they're getting into.
That's great. Yeah, that's great to hear. All right, Commissioner, Vice Chair Audi.
Patrice, thank you so much. Great job for your first time. Really appreciate your report. I did catch a couple of things, like the musicals. I've really heard a great positive buzz about that, and it's just really cool to see both of those musicals side by side with all of those kids participating. So the involvement in that is huge, and that youth theater program has just taken off great. And I live in a neighborhood where we had a young family move in across the street, and we were really excited because everybody's we don't have a lot of kids on our street, but a lot of the people on our street go to those shows and they really enjoy it. So that's an awesome thing. 28. The numbers at the park for the 4th are just spectacular. The one question is that up? Is that, do we have a comparison on that, or is that level or down?
Sports park, that's fairly normal.
Okay.
Typically a Tuesday, Wednesday, 4th is a little bit tricky because we never know if people are going to just stay home all week and if they're going to come out, or if they're just going to say, we're just going to take the whole week off. But that's about average.
Okay, great. Well, I'd like to make a comment because we were all at the 4th of July parade, and I think that this is a tradition, a community services cherished tradition that we have in our community that brings our community together to celebrate our country's independence. And the community participation highlights the family-oriented, small-town feel that's in our QLMP. And the theme should be bringing the community together. And in the past, that's kind of the feeling you get from all of our parades. But that kind of wasn't there, in my opinion, this year. And I felt like there were some personal agendas by some of our leaders in our community that were creating kind of a feel of division. So my questions are, has there been any discussion about maybe regulating what we do with our political figures? I know political figures leadership needs to be involved in those parades, but has there been any talk about regulation changing to change that feeling tone a little bit and then bringing it back to that coming together as a community in a celebration? And then my second question would be, it felt again like it was down a little bit in terms of attendance. 4,000 was the number, but it felt a lot lower than normal, so I wanted to know how that compared in the past.
So as far as attendance, ever since COVID and the parade has come back, this parade has seen lower attendance and lower participation numbers with entries. Why?
Okay.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't know if people are just out of town, they're just doing other things in the morning.
Don, a question, because this, I'm glad Gary's bringing this up, because the whole attendance, the parade felt small attendance-wise to me. There were gaps, we were driving, and there was nobody. Is there any way that to reach out to past participants or to question the public to maybe start to answer that question?
You know, the 4th of July parade is always so tricky. The Christmas parade has built-in entries because school is in session, and so we get all the bands, and that brings participants and spectators because everybody's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, 4th of July parade, on average over the years, our attendance has probably been about 5,000 or so. It's always much, much smaller. So we're down some, not drastically, but still down some. We always email all the past participants about participating again. Sometimes after COVID, we've had some businesses that have participated for a long time and they're just not in business anymore. We've had some long-standing groups that just have chosen not to participate. So, you know, we're hoping over the next couple of years, maybe we can figure out a way to get our numbers up some. So we're working on that behind the scenes. We're also have had some internal discussions about our parade guidelines and seeing how maybe we can shore those up a little bit more to bring the hometown feel of the parade back.
I am super excited that all of those things are being discussed, building it back up, getting some more participation, and to bring back that community feel. And as always, community services, you guys are on top of it, and really appreciate what you do for us there, because it's kind of at the core of what our community is all about, and it's a part of our long-range plan. So as always, Community Service Division is right there doing their part. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gary.
So-
Thank you for your observations.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll just add on a little bit there. So I'm glad you brought that up, Vice Chair Audi, because the politicization of the event you saw at the parade, we've seen at a number of our events this past year. It's, I think, maybe more obvious at the parade, but some of our other events have gotten a lot more political entries as vendors. So political organizations apply to be like informational booths, where normally those informational booths might be like a public service, or the water district comes and provides information about drought-friendly landscaping. We're seeing more and more of this like very thinly veiled attempt to insinuate political agendas into our events. So we had already spoken with the city attorney about kind of creating guidelines so that informational booths and vendors at the parade, or I'm sorry, at other events would have to be, they'd have to have a direct tie to the event. So for example, if it's Culture Fest for World Cultural Diversity Day, any vendors or informational booths would have to have a direct tie to that event. The flip side of that is then sometimes it weeds out organizations that could perhaps have a legitimate social value. For example, Commissioner now, I guess Denise Wilson from the Ready Commission, excuse me, has a nonprofit called Rock Your Red. And the goal of Rock Your Red is to provide awareness about women's heart health. Very valuable information. She had an informational booth at Culture Fest. Well, under the new guidelines, Rock Your Red might not qualify because it doesn't have a direct cultural tie. So it gets to that point where we try to keep things as broad as possible, but when people start taking advantage of that, then we have to tighten up the guidelines, and that's, unfortunate. But as you pointed out at the parade, we definitely saw that at the parade. We had, I think, we had an assembly person, a supervisor, 3 out of 5 council members, 4 out of 5 school board members who we did not invite to be participants, plus, who else am I forgetting? It seems like we had some other, plus 3 political affiliated groups. One of them dropped out the day of the parade. So in the end, we had, let's see, assembly member, 3 council members who we would always have, obviously, Chuck Washington. So those 5 we would normally have. The school board members, we had like maybe 10 to 12 entries that were political in nature. And some of those we would always have. We would always have our council members in the parade, obviously. But out of a total of 40?
45, 50 entries.
Yeah, so maybe a quarter of the entries were politically associated. And obviously, we would like to get to a point where we had, maybe a different balance there, and where the majority of entries were just kind of fun and bringing the community together, as you mentioned. So yes, we are having some internal discussions on that, and we'll see what we come up with for the, mainly because next year is an election year. So whatever we see this year will be much more intense next year. So we just want to make sure that as an organization, we're prepared and we have whatever guidelines, legal guidance we need in place already, so that when we start getting more of these political entries, and then of course if you have, if you have a Republican group over here, well then the Democratic group wants to join in, and then you have somebody else. So it's like they start kind of wagering, increasing the ante on both sides. So anyway, thank you for bringing it up. Hope that answers the question. Am I forgetting anything? Okay, great.
I want to thank you for weighing in, because, again, you're demonstrating the efforts you're making to make it about coming together in a community event and actually being kind to each other and treating each other like the Temeculans we are and the human beings we are, and not creating a division. And I appreciate so much what this division is doing. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, just one more comment along those lines. Mayor Pro Tem Stewart came to the California Parks and Rec Society conference this past year, and he likes to go whenever they're local. He goes. And for whatever reason, he sat in one of the keynote addresses, which happened to be about, do you remember what the topic was officially? The guy who spoke, he did like 3 successive talks.
I don't know if that was the one. It was like, it had a weird title, the
It did.
Cheese Whiz. Was that
That
the?
might have been it. It was about, long story short, it ended up being about how community services and Parks and Rec can be unifying. Oh, it was having difficult conversations. The keynote was on having difficult conversations with the public, and it was essentially how, as public employees, we can engage with the public and have difficult conversations and mediate those conversations and facilitate those conversations in a very politically divided atmosphere. And Mayor Pro Tem Stewart watched that, and he came back, and he just came back with this really renewed appreciation, and he spoke about it at council, that community services is really the glue for the community. We are the place where we can get beyond political divisions and just genuinely bring everyone together. Everyone likes fireworks. Everyone likes a Christmas parade. These are things nobody needs to debate or be on opposite sides of. It's like we can just bring people together. So that's our goal. We just want to get back to that.
Thank you, Vice Chair Adi. I appreciate your comments, and I'm just going to put my little bit on here while we're talking about the parade and just some of the politicalization that we've just discussed, that we've seen at events. I think there's a whole lot of people that are in the middle that don't want anything to do with the politicalization, that maybe could be turned off on going to events or want to avoid it when that kind of an environment's there. And just as we've been talking about, why do we have lower numbers for the parade, I would hate for that to be a reason why people don't attend the 4th of July parade, because maybe they attribute patriotism towards the politicalization. I'd hate to see that to be a reason why people maybe stayed away. But I do just want to add, Dawn, I don't know how you do it. The fact that you did 2 huge events on the same day on different parts of town, and you pull it off and the staff pulls it off. That is amazing. And you set the rest of us up that do events with other organizations because you make it look easy. You do a wonderful job. Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Castro?
Thank you. Thank you for the report. I really enjoyed that. Thank you. One of the things I've seen in the emails coming out about the summer food service program, does that fall under? Human Services. So is there any feedback on how that's going? What's been the impact? How many people? That type of, should I wait for the next?
Yeah,
meeting?
the numbers
Okay.
for that will be presented,
Okay,
but
I'll
it's
wait. That's
very
fine.
well attended, usually sells out, and we've activated Rotary Park in addition to Margarita, Mike Nagar Park. So we're at 2 locations, 5 days a week, and I was at Rotary today and saw it in action. They're playing, activating a park that was dormant, and feeding and nurturing the community. So it's very popular, very needed, and very making a strong impact.
Where I was going with it is, I've brought this up in the past, but what I hear from people in our neighborhood is what the huge impact the classes and the summer programs have, because people don't have daycare and they don't have, it really adds to the community. And, to be able to continue that kind of program, you got to be able to demonstrate the impact and show what impact you're having, because a lot of people you talk to in the community, they're going, well, what's the city doing for me? Why am I paying all these taxes? Here's a huge win story to tell the community, and especially with the summer food service, the classes, all of those types of things. This is something we really need to publicize.
Nobody is turned away, and it's federally funded as well, so it's not just city tax dollars.
Okay. And I had one last follow-up question on the water polo. Where did you get the horses for the water polo program?
They're right here, Commissioner
They're
Castro.
right there, okay.
Right here. And this too.
This too, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I had a couple of questions. First of all, I want to make a comment, seeing the summer camps. I think that's just a Temecula tradition. I'm impressed by the continuous quality of the programs. I remember when I have a senior in high school and then 2 young adults. I remember when they were little, and the excitement of getting the book in the mail and going through and figuring out which classes we were going to do each summer. I'm happy to see a lot of those same camps still offered, good quality camps. I'm happy to see that continuing. I had a question on the library youth programs, where you have the special once a week where they go in the morning and they have the performer. How is the demand for those? I had someone who has young adult children like myself, and we reminisced about the good old days and having to get to the library to get a parking spot and waiting in line and hoping you got a ticket. And this person had said to me, gosh, I drive by the library, I don't think I see that many people there wanting to go to the programs anymore.
The programs still fill up, but we don't make people wait in line. Like it used to be, I remember when my kids were young, probably your kids' ages, it was a week to the day before the day you wanted to go. If it was a Thursday afternoon program, you had to show up the Thursday before, get in line, wait, get the thing. And now we pre-register.
Okay.
We do registrations online. So, but I know that phase.
That's so civilized.
Same
That's
thing
so
with swim
easy.
lessons. Do you remember what swim lesson registration used to be like? Yeah, that was
Yes.
terrible. No, we do almost everything online now.
Oh,
so,
wow.
in fact, maybe just everything online.
So you don't have to get there and take your kids like an hour and a half before the program and stand in line to make sure that you get in. You register online and you just show up.
Parking is still an issue, so especially during
Okay.
the summer. So parking can very well be the bottleneck there. And our programs do fill up for sure.
Okay.
So you may, people want to get there early to get their seats, get where they want to go. But yeah, we don't do the wait in line
Wow.
queuing anymore. So
Now, I know you guys built the parking, the lower level of the
Yes.
parking lot. Is that getting utilized for the parking for these programs, and we still have parking?
It
issues?
does.
Okay.
There were a couple of issues with how that parking was designed that it was one of those situations where staff on the TCSD side was weighing in, and then you had engineers on the Public Works side weighing in, and they win. And one of the issues is to get from that bottom up to the top, you either have to walk up a fairly steep set of stairs or walk back up the ramp, which obviously is not particularly safe.
So there were no women involved in the engineering, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, you know, women with children would understand the
and that-
strollers and the
and-
babies and
And
the.
that was exactly the argument, was a lot of,
Yeah.
especially during the
Okay.
day, a lot of our patrons at that library are typically moms with small children.
Okay,
And we also have the street side parking, so that helps a lot. But that said, for the big programs, parking does still fill up.
okay.
So, yeah, but we do open up that lower level parking, and a lot of people park down there and they don't mind the walk up, but it's not a problem,
Okay,
but yeah.
all right, well, that's good to see. That's
Yeah.
amazing to hear you get to do it online.
Yeah.
I wish no, I'm not gonna say I wish I had children now to experience that. Nope, nope.
Maybe grandchildren one day.
Maybe. Lastly, our street exits, year-to-date, how does that compare in years past?
Last year, we had 85 for the year, so we're on, the right track. We've been
Okay.
working with some pretty tough clients lately,
Okay.
but we're hopeful that they're accepting treatment from swag. So,
Okay.
yeah, swag has been really helpful for us, but we're at 35 that we counted for the pit count. So,
Okay.
yeah, I think we're on the right track.
So if we were at 85 this time last year, and we're
Oh,
at
I
40
think we're
now?
at 40, yes, 40
Okay.
year to date.
So, for having a significantly less number, what would you attribute that to? Is our population decreasing, or is it just the people that are on there now are?
We had a lot of rain, so I think that was
Okay.
accounted for the weather, but summertime is our busiest time of the year.
Okay.
So we just get a lot of travelers that, pass through, or transients that,
Okay.
a lot of times they just stop and then they just keep on walking. So we have a few new faces, but we're trying to just talk with them as much as we can. Each team tries to provide outreach and hope that we can set a game plan for them.
Right, thank you. I know we enjoy, it's very encouraging to hear the success stories that,
Yeah.
that get shared with us by staff, and so thank you for
So
what you're
just to
doing.
clarify, we had a total of 85 street exits in 2022.
2022, yes.
Okay, so for the year of
Okay.
2022, we had 85, and we're at about 40
40.
now
Mhm.
so we're right about the same,
So it's around the
point
same.
midway through the year, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. All righty. We will move on now to our cultural arts, and I'm assuming human services will also be part of this report. All right, we have our pleasure to have Mike Morey here with us tonight. Or should I give you the one, the only, Mike Morey?
I like that one better. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Morey. I'm with the Community Outreach Team. If you don't recognize this face, it's probably because it's behind the camera most of the time. Let's start off with arts and culture. Starting off with arts and culture, the ACE team hosted Art Nights on Friday, June 2nd. The gallery exhibit featured the secrets of coffee painting with 200 people in attendance. The ACE team continued to showcase art through the 4 rotating galleries at the Civic Center, Library, Museum, and the Merc. Our community outreach team is excited to report that we obtained almost 400 new Instagram followers in June. Throughout the month, we posted 4 Instagram Reels, released episode 22 of Park Adventures, created 2 new logos, and created 2 programs for youth musical theater. We also released the first episode of the new video series starring our mayor called Just the Facts with Zach, which has received over 13,000 views. The past month, the annual summer food service program began at Mike Nagar Community Park, serving meals every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This year, the program expanded to Rotary Park, serving meals every Monday and Friday. The program offers nutritious meals for youth 18 years old or younger, as well as adults with disabilities. The meals are provided on a first-come, first-served basis from now through August 11th. We celebrated Father's Day for our seniors on June 8th in partnership with the Rotary Club and Royal Benefits Insurance Services. The day was filled with raffles, pies, coffees, and a choir performance. On June 14th, the monthly senior excursion took participants to San Diego County Fair. The seniors had a great time exploring the rides, games, exhibits, and more. The next excursion to Balboa Park and Seaport Village is in July and is already full. We have met many new faces since hosting the senior meals at Temecula Community Center. On average, we serve 90 to 110 meals daily. While summer camps were taking place, we served to-go meals for our seniors. In the month of June, the TCC began operating as a cool center to offer temporary relief from the heat to anyone in need. The Temecula Valley Museum opened its newest exhibit, Walking in Antarctica, on June 7th. This immersive exhibit is available through August 13th. Mark your calendars for July 29th, when the museum will be hosting a gallery talk with the artist Helen Glazer. Shout out to all the students who participated and placed in the museum's 20th annual history contest. We hosted another successful Culture Days event. This past month, we celebrated Iceland with an Icelandic yogurt bar, fairy housecraft, scavenger hunt, and language activities. The Culture Quest Camp is returned for another summer at the museum. Camp participants learn about a different culture each day through fun activities, art, and presentations. Be sure to come out to the museum this Wednesday at 5 o'clock for the latest emerging artist mural as we celebrate Japanese Marine Day. Our Workforce Development Division has been busy this summer with a variety of camps and programs for youth. The 3-day Junior STEM Camp has 50 middle school students enrolled. The Medical Career Path program is taking place through August and currently has 40 high school students enrolled. Also taking place through August is the Future Physician Leaders program. The program is designed for college students, and we currently have 20 participants. On June 30th, Southwest Healthcare hosted the community and coat ceremony at City Hall with 68 residents and fellows participating. The Youth Innovators Program continues to meet on Wednesday during the summer. On June 13th, the program hosted an end-of-the-year party for the high school students. And lastly, in the month of June, we had 23 interns participating in the city's internship fellowship program. We're also happy to announce our externship program, which is offered to high school graduates and current college students over the summer. This past month, we had 11 externs participating. This concludes our division report, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for being here with us tonight and providing that report. It's a pleasure to have you here. We'll go ahead and take comments and questions from our commissioners, and we will start with Commissioner Castro.
Thank you for the report. I don't have any questions. I asked my question earlier, so thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kingsburg?
Thank you. No questions, just a couple quick comments. I did get a chance to see that episode 1 on the video series, Just the Facts with Zach, so great job with that. Really enjoyed it. I think it's great to see our mayor out visibly, on video, not only on video, but at events and accessible to citizens. I've been to a few of the senior events and enjoyed those, and hearing about the excursions is really nice to hear that they're full, that people are signing up, and I think it's so critical for their wellness to have that community here through the city, but also to get out of the area. That's really good for people. And then also just to hear that the workforce development summer programs are really robust and full, and there's a lot of opportunities for students this summer. So great work.
Thank you, Commissioner Kingsburg. It was wonderful to see you in the pictures there attending our senior events. I really appreciate and want to acknowledge how I see you really getting out there and being involved and attending events, especially our senior events. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm happy to see the excursions. I remember when I was a kid growing up, my grandmother and her husband would go with their senior group in Costa Mesa on I called them field trips, but I remember my grandma I could attend, during the summer with them, and I'd be the only kid with all these old people. But it was a wonderful memory, so I'm really happy to see that here in Temecula. So it's great to see. All right, Commissioner Hawks.
Thank you, Mike, for the report. I have a few comments. I was at a few of the events. This Saturday, I went to the museum, watched a penguin video, and I was surprised the Antarctica exhibit. I was expecting icebergs or glaciers, but I was surprised to see lakes, the dry land. It's eye-opening, so I enjoyed it. And the junior camp, I was there for the last day, the science fair. It was a huge success. I heard stories from parents. One mom asked me, who can I email? I want to send a thank you note to the city. So it's really a great camp, especially for only 3 mornings. They put together I don't remember how many, 10 projects, but they presented, and parents or their other officials visiting and asking questions. So it's really well done, especially I talked to some of the interns. I also saw the picture. It's all run mostly by the youth innovators. So that's a very impressive program that set them up for the future success. So I really appreciate what the cities are doing for the youth. Yeah, that's all my comments.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Hawks. Again, I want to thank you. I really appreciate that you are at a lot of our youth events with your children. And I appreciate that we get that perspective firsthand from you. You're kind of like our boots on the ground in the youth program. So I appreciate that you bring that feedback to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Vice Chair Audie.
Thanks so much, Mike. Good to see you. I love the reels. And to echo what Commissioner Kingsburg said about the reels with the mayor, really focusing on those positive things, and then kind of going back to what Commissioner Castro said about, finding those wins that we have in our community and really, really marketing those. But I think you're doing a fantastic job of that, and enjoying seeing the parks from the eyes of those adventures too. Those are awesome. So thanks for all of that. I don't have anything on the report, but there wasn't a lot about parks. Some of the programs we have, projects we have going on at our parks. And I was wondering if I could get just a brief update on the pickleball, because I know we had talked about it, and I know there was mention of construction possibly at the pit, and was just wondering where that was right now.
Yes, so the pickleball project has been included in the CIP. It's got some additional funding because of the plans to expand it beyond the initial plan was maybe 8 to maximum of 12 courts, and then are now looking at a 17-court design. So, and that will be at the pit. And so they did the preliminary design phase, and it's more of like a concept plan. And now they will use that concept plan now that the Parks and Recreation and Community Services Subcommittee has bought off on it. They will take that forward for an RFP, and they will look for an actual design firm to do the actual, construction design, like down to every last pebble, basically. And then they'll use that to go out to bid for the actual construction contract.
Outstanding. Thanks for that, because I think, pickleball, the water polo we talked about earlier, all of these active things, skate parks, pump tracks, all of these things that make us an active community, they're so important, and I really appreciate that is still on the plans, and giving that community an opportunity to have some quality places to play. I think it's pretty apparent that that's a sport that was not just a fad. and it continues to grow exponentially across the country and around the world. So I think it's brilliant that we still attempt to give ourselves a quality facility for that. So thanks again, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, 2024 should be a very exciting year for outdoor recreation projects between pickleball, the roofing and resurfacing the hockey rink, the demolition and reconstruction of the skate park, the Harvesting Community Park Room, although that's not strictly outdoor recreation, and then 3 park renovations that should be coming up actually before the end of this calendar year. So with the CIP, it's approaching 800, it's over, I think, $800 million in the 5-year CIP. So there's a lot of fantastic projects coming down the pipeline.
And I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be going back and forth again, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring into that 2024, possibly finishing in 2025, is the Nicholas Road expansion that includes a Class 1 bicycle trail. So an extension of the northern segment of our loop trail, our Temecula Loop Trail. So another, active participation, active community item on the SIP. So
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Adi. Let's see, my comments today, I do want to thank you, Mike, for all you do with the media that we have for our city. That includes our Instagram. I love seeing the reels. I really appreciated I believe it was a reel that Tracy gave the very eloquent directions for motorhome parking. It seems like a simple thing to be like, it's a motorhome parking reel, but it was very professionally done. It was very informative, and I watched it and I was like, that's really helpful information. And I love the way you presented it, and it's out there because I'm sure you probably got a lot of people calling you and emailing you wanting to know those questions, and I appreciate that you have that information out there for people. It was well done.
Thank you. It was also appreciated by some of our staff who sit at the front reception booths, and they had kind of told us, like, yeah, I was able to watch the video and make sure I was explaining the information correctly. So after, however many years we've been doing the 4th of July, it made sense to put it out there, and then we can just keep reposting it for years to come. So thank you.
Absolutely, and you did a great job, Tracy.
Thank
You did
you.
a great job. It was very good, very well done. And I appreciate the YouTube channel. I don't know if you're in charge. I'm sure you contribute to the YouTube channel because I see your productions on there. I appreciated the time lapse of the parade. That was neat to have. I especially love seeing us in our little golf carts doing circles. That was really fun. But I appreciated that time lapse, and I appreciate the quantity and the depth of the material that's on our YouTube. It's not just our council meetings and our commission meetings. I know I've communicated with you in the past. I teach citizenship in the community merit badge for Scouts, and I do probably around 8 weeks worth of 8 classes, and every class I have a Temecula production. There's some great videos on there that cover our history, that cover the founders, even the silly one. I always love showing the Scouts I believe it was the 30th anniversary with Mike Nagar and Temecula Love, and we had the silly kid who wanted to move to Temecula Norte. The kids think it's a little cheesy, but they all learn stuff. And what I really appreciate is I usually have parents that are in the back of the room that come up to me afterwards and like, I just moved here like 5 years ago and I didn't know all this stuff. Thank you. I'm glad I'm taking citizenship in the Merritt community. So I appreciate the quantity and the quality of what we have out there. So thank you very much for providing that. I did attend the last 2 art nights. I love the new logo. I appreciate that. Very good job. I really loved the one that you showed, the Secrets of Coffee painting that we had at the gallery last month. Amazing. She's a fantastic artist. And she paints it with coffee, layer upon layer of coffee. I did fall in love with one of her pieces, and I just got a print that she sent out to me today, and I realized I have a Temecula art wall. I have a Sasha Hope, a Bonnie Martlin, I have 2 Jimmy Foos, and now I have this coffee one, and I realized, I'm putting them all together, and I'm like, I have a Temecula art wall. That's kind of cool. So
Maybe you should have a gallery exhibit.
My
Any
husband says
private
no.
art collection.
My husband says, no, she's not going to spend that much money. Don't tell him. So thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate how our city community services promotes and supports our arts community. So thank you.
Can I ask Mike also to briefly talk about the mentorship that he recently provided to Brendan?
Yeah, sure. So just last week, I believe, I was asked there was a special needs adult who is in the community, and he's interested in audio work, also a little bit of video. So we set something up with him. So he came down to City Hall. I kind of showed him everything that I do, how everything works, how I got here, and how much I love it. And he really seemed to kind of take the information in and really liked it. And we're working on setting up, when we film the next park adventures, for him to come out and kind of see how it all works when we're out there filming Jeff at the park.
Wow. I'm not familiar with city governments besides my amazing Temecula. Do other cities do that? I mean, that's just amazing that's what I love about Boy Scouts, is that we're able to connect these youth with other adults, to maybe lead them towards a future career path. But I don't usually hear about that outside of Scouts. But to hear that a resident contacted you guys and you welcomed him in, to show him, to, help him maybe decide, do I want to do this? Do other cities do this?
This connection was made through Nicole Pierce, who's an employee on Don's team, and she also works for Easter Seals as her other job, so
Okay.
part-time, full-time there, part-time, and she coordinated that. But we also visited the Media Lab, which is here in Temecula, and that's also for inclusive media training, filming, production, and the husband and wife that own that are just, investing their whole selves, and they have a full school of adults, but with special needs that are learning a craft that they are passionate about and they can then pursue with their professional development.
Is that Scott and Diane Strand?
No, that's JDS
Okay.
Academy. This is Cyril Robinson and her husband.
Okay.
And she created this. It's not a non-for-profit, because we were asking if they pursue
Yeah.
grant funding. But she basically said she and her husband sold their house to fund this. So they
Wow.
are pouring themselves and their income, and it's all done through the regional center. So you have to be referred from the regional center to this
Okay.
program, and it's then subsidized that way.
So we have fine arts, we have theater arts. I know we have a thriving singer-songwriters group of people. What is this, video production, media? What don't we do? That's amazing. That is amazing. Thank you, guys.
We're pretty special.
We are. Thank you for supporting the arts and our local artists, and thank you for mentoring and pouring into some of Mike. I appreciate that. That's great to hear. All righty, we'll go ahead and move on to our, let's see, where are we at on here? Our consent calendar. We have one item to approve our action minutes of our last meeting on June 12th, 2023. Do we have a motion to approve that?
I'll move to approve.
Motion from Kingsburg. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second from Hawks. Tracy, can you go ahead and take a vote?
Okay. Commissioner Castro,
Aye.
Commissioner Hawks,
Aye.
Commissioner Kingsburg,
Aye.
Vice Chair Audi. Oh, I'm sorry. Vice Chair Audi will abstain due to his prior absence. So Chair Sizemore.
Aye.
Okay, so the motion is approved 4-0 with the exception of Vice Chair Audi. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tracy. And we have a director's report from Director Russo.
I'll keep it brief this evening. I just wanted to thank you all for your participation on July 4th and your showing up and decorating your golf carts and driving with wild abandon through the street. It was wonderful. We're very excited and very proud to have all of you show up and support us in that way. Particularly when a lot of the other commissioners, they get very excited and they want to show up, but they don't always actually show up. And, this year we even didn't have all 5 of the council members there, so it was really particularly good to have that we had all of you there. So I just wanted to thank you for taking the time and doing that. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you for giving me a golf cart with a horn. It was fun, thank you. All right, we will do our commissioner reports now, and we will go ahead and start with Commissioner Kingsburg.
Thank you, Chair Sizemore. Just to echo what Director Russo said, that I really enjoyed the 4th of July parade, the opportunity to participate with all my fellow commissioners and staff. And once I got through the decoration phase, it was all downhill, So once my wife got through the decoration phase, it was all downhill. But thank you, Tracy, for your patience in answering all my decoration questions, but that was great. And I got one in the bag, so it was all good. As far as this last month goes, one thing I was able to do, Dr. Hawks mentioned the museum, and actually I was over there on Saturday as well. I was over there in the early part of the day. I may have missed you, but I did see the Antarctica exhibit, very impressive. I was excited to take a look at that. Also was around for the early stages, at least, of the Culture Day with Portugal, and managed to get my food samples in. And it looked like the art table was buzzing, and they were getting ready for some entertainment. I saw more people coming in for entertainment. Anyway, that sort of prompted things dancing around in my head. And I've come in now a few times on Saturdays, and it seems like there's often special events, but I know it's not going to shock you to hear that there's a lot of traffic in Old Town. Well, usually, but always on Saturday mornings are very, seems like a busy time. And so seeing the traffic kind of bunch up there as people were coming in from the north end and trying to get in the museum, which we were able to do because we got there by 10 o'clock or so. I was wondering about, has there ever been any discussion about consideration of moving the site of the farmer's market to the south part of town? And I mention that because, not the south part of town, but the southern part of Old Town. As I walked down, I took a walk. As I walked down away from the museum market area, it was much less traffic. Now, Swing Inn was packed. Shocked the world right on that on Saturday morning. 1909 was packed, right? But beyond that, there wasn't a whole lot of traffic down there. And so things started dancing around in my head, and this may be a terrible idea, and just throwing it out there, that the lot that's used as a staging area, for the 4th of July parade seems like a fairly spacious. I guess what I'm getting at is, if we're bringing a lot of people into the museum for special culture days, that is a very tough spot there where Moreno kind of becomes or goes into Mercedes. So anyway, just an observation I wanted to toss out there. But enjoyed getting over there, irregardless of any traffic, and great to see those events continuing. So thank you.
Do you guys want to address his comments?
So we were discussing this earlier. Technically, if something comes up in the comments,
Okay.
in the commission reports, we're not supposed to engage in discussion. That said, staff will follow up with you on that for sure and give you a little feedback on that. Speaking of markets, I should have mentioned during my director's report, this Wednesday will be the inaugural Sunset Market for our evening market here in Old Town. Dawn, what are the hours on that again? Is it 5 to 8? 9. 5 to 9, perfect. There'll be music vendors, and it's going to be? Out front, thank you. I was like, is it going to be in 6th Street? I don't remember.
In the circle
The
here?
Y.
In front of town? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, Commissioner Hawks?
Thank you, Chair Sizemore. I'm going to recap some of the things I already said earlier. It was a busy summer with lots of activities. I'm very pleased to participate in the successful junior STEM science fair with the students and their parents. And my children and I finally made it to the culture days at the museum, and we had a taste of Portugal and the Antarctica with all the penguins. That's a rare combination at the museum. Out of all the activities, the parade and the fireworks were the highlight. I'm from China, so I usually try to stay away from the crowd. But July 4th is an exception. I watched our community having a great time. I sent a picture of the crowd from Ronald Reagan to my parents in China, and they were shocked with the number of people that were there. And especially I want to mention that, like also Chair mentioned earlier, that Don was there at the Old Town. Then 9 hours later, you were at the Ronald Reagan Park, still 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, still working. So thank you for all your hard work. That's really a testimony of not only you and all the staff and the team that put this together. It's very special. And just we have a special team of dedicated staff. So thank you, and I appreciate you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Hawks. Commissioner Castro?
Thank you. I'd like to follow up on the congratulations on the parade. That was pretty awesome. I really enjoyed, my kids and grandkids enjoyed decorating the cart, and I think I'm in the lead for Grandpa of the Year because they got to ride on the cart. So, but I was impressed in how easily everything flowed and everything went on the parade. I know how hard it is to put something like that together, so really appreciate that. I was also at the museum and saw the Antarctica exhibit and saw the Japanese Marine Day painting. I think that's an incredible opportunity for people to be able to paint and contribute to the community. That was, we really appreciated that. I also wanted to thank Tracy for helping me with my communication needs. So I wanted to say thank you. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Castro. Vice Chair Audi?
Yeah, we can't leave without thanking Dawn, another Dawn-tastic 4th of July, and staff. I know we ran into you at different points along the way, seeing you do your different tasks and chores. So what a special day. Thank you. Went to the first concert in the park, and I think I've seen like Beatle cover bands maybe like a dozen times, so I wasn't real excited about seeing another Beatle cover band, but these guys were extra special. I mean, they really nailed it. They were good. So had a good time there. Wasn't able to make the Motown band, but looking forward to more concerts this summer. Again, thanks for all you do, giving our community an opportunity to enjoy this wonderful area and be active and experience culture. So thanks, and let's keep it going. I think I'll be seeing a lot of you with some events coming up. So that's it for tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Vice Chair Audi. And I will just once again, great job with 4th of July. I mean, seriously, Don, you pull off 2 full events on the same day. The parade is a monster on its own, and then the other, and you pull it off, and you do it so well. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate what you do for the community. 28,000 people. That's, wow, wow. And it's also wonderful to have that tradition back after having missed it for a couple of years, so thank you so much. I pretty much said everything during the meeting. I did want to mention I'm excited to hear that we have a private pickleball facility coming into Temecula. They will be having a ribbon cutting on July 21st at 11 to 11:30 for SoCal Pickleball. If any of my commissioners would like to join me, let me know. And on the 21st, Friday, the 21st of July, 11 to 11:30. I'd love to go and support them because I know pickleball is very important to the city of Temecula residents. So I'm happy to see that they will have even more options and opportunities to play pickleball. So that is all I have for tonight. So I'm looking forward to Thursday to see Cheese Whiz. That's the summer concert. It's an 80s band. An 80s band, so.
Chair
Cheese Whiz.
Sizemore, can I mention one last thing, is that I know
Absolutely.
you know that Bill Kilfeather passed away a month ago, and we, at the Senior Center, the TCC, we are going to have a celebration of his life on Wednesday, August 2nd at 9:30 a.m., and the choir will be singing some of his favorite tunes. So if any of you want to be there, you're welcome to join. It's just put on by the Senior Center, the choir, just out of the goodness of the hearts, and the family is going to be providing some refreshments. So it's just open to the public. I know he was an impact on the community, and if you want to be there, you're all welcome.
Thank you very much, Bea. I was going to actually ask you after our meeting about services for Bill, so thank you for sharing that with us. I would send my condolences to the Senior Center because I know he was a very active participant, and I see how it's been wonderful to witness the true heartfelt relationships that our residents, especially at our Senior Center, have with our staff. And so I know that there are staff members that feel the pain of his loss. And so send our condolences to them. So thank you. All right, we will go ahead, and our next meeting for our Community Services Commission will be Monday, August the 14th, 2023 at 6 p.m. right here in City Council chambers. So I will go ahead and adjourn until August 14th. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.